Good morning and welcome to Shaw Planet for November 8th, 2022. If you think I'm coming to you an hour late, you might have been an hour late to a lot of other things because we had daylight savings time this past weekend. I hope you're finding this crisp weather or this unseasonably warm weather fine as well and enjoying this outdoor time. Today's election day, and it is extremely important that you do something. But do you do something with your finances or do you do something with your constitutional civil duty and your right? You should go out and vote. But what does that mean for your finances? Let's talk a little bit about what these midterm elections that we have today. By the way, if you were one of those Powerball lottery winners, I don't even know if somebody won, but if you were one of those winners, you might have other things to do today. Give us a call. We might be able to help you out with trying to figure out what it is you need to do. But here's a really quick thing. And if you were on our webinar this past week, you might have seen me talk about this a little bit. I'm going to go a little deeper on this too. But, and by the way, if you want a recording of that webinar, reach out to us as well, because we've gotten some extremely positive feedback on it too. And we've had a lot of people ask for the recordings and actually try to send it to other family members as well too. So just let us know if you're waiting on that too. And by the way, if you requested it, it's on its way over too. So here's what it is. We're looking at the hypothetical growth of an investor who put $1 into the S&P 500 in January 2026. Now, what you're seeing here is you've got red, blue, and purple. And the chart lays out the party control of Congress over time. Now, both parties had significant growth and significant declines during their time of majority rule, but there's not a pattern of stronger returns. It basically shows that there's any specific party that's in control of Congress. It doesn't really matter who's in. You're kind of seeing the same sort of growth or decline. So markets have historically continued to provide returns over the long term, irrespective of who's actually investing. But there is something you need to know. For the 96-year period that ended in 2021, that same S&P 500, if you reinvested your dividends, it actually posted an average return of 12.33%. But during that period of time, there were 24 midterm constitutional elections. That average return for that 12-month period following that election, significantly higher at 19.58. So pretty significant difference there, right? Almost like a 7% arbitrage, and there's only been one negative result during that period of time. So what do? Do we jump right in? No, we don't jump right in. So if we jumped right in, do these numbers suggest that investors should just load up on stocks and then prior to every new midterm election and then just try to time the market? So not so fast, because we can't make too much of these results. Like I just said, stock returns vary so much from year to year. And imagine if you were a statistics professor and you basically said, yeah, you got 24 times that happened. We should absolutely see this as a pattern. It may not be a long-term pattern too, right? If investors are looking for reasons to fret over these sort of election returns, there's not a whole lot of evidence that political leadership is helpful for making portfolio decisions. I say this often. Remember, when we're talking about the economy, we're talking about things that are happening today. If we're talking about the stock market, we're talking about things that's going to happen in the future. And actually, not even things that are going to happen in the future, but people's predictions about what's going to happen in the future. We don't invest in people. We invest in companies. We invest in these companies, for example. And you're looking at a pretty diverse sort of demographic, right? So here we've got, and the reason why I have these companies up here right now is you've got Moline, Illinois. That's where John Deere is. We've got Los Gatos, California, where Netflix is. And we got Bentonville, Arkansas. Every one of those places, these midterm elections and sort of things and policies that are going to come in effect, they're going to have an effect. Some of those effects will be positive, and some of them are going to be negatives. But the people who are running these firms, the men and women who are basically at leadership, they're not just looking at the elections. The guy from Ford, Jim Farley, he's got to worry about whether that F-150 pickup truck is going to be the best-selling vehicle in the country. But at the same time, they have to invest in electric cars. Disney, Bob Chapek has to decide whether or not he's going to distribute the shareholders' money to the shareholders, or if he's going to spend that money on the next cruise or the next movie or the next theme park, right? My money's on my vote is that he does something more with the Avengers and the X-Men merger or crossovers, because I'm waiting for that. I've been waiting for that since I don't even know how old. So these CEOs, are they concerned with the election results? Are they keeping an eye on it? Probably. I guess they're keeping an eye on it, but they're far more concerned about the issues that they face and what they're going to be forced with. Like, there are things on the ballot right now about the legalization of marijuana. There's things about the legalization of abortion or the illegalization of abortion. So there's all these sort of issues that people are voting on right now. It's important. It may have an impact, but we just don't know what kind of impact it's going to have. And that goes for thousands of other companies, larger companies, smaller companies, all around the US. So what do? Predicting election results is difficult. Predicting how securities are going to react is even harder. So a lot of investors, they have firm convictions when it comes to politics and policies, and I get that. Healthy democracy, it depends on active participation. You got to get out there and vote. I get that too. So I'm not saying that you shouldn't get out and vote. In fact, I'm saying you absolutely should get out and vote. But nobody predicted that when Joe Biden was going to be elected, that the US stock market would have its strongest election week results since 1932. Nobody predicted that. And if you thought that was going to happen in this next one, your temptation would be to kind of move all in. But here's what you do: vote with your ballot. Don't vote with your life savings. All right. So stay in your lane. If you've got any questions, any concerns, you know we're here. We had a lot of fun in last week's webinar, a lot of information. Again, if you want a recording of that webinar, don't hesitate to reach out to us. Stay safe, stay warm, get out and vote. And if you happen to know that Powerball winner, or if there were any Powerball winners, we can help. All right. See you next week on Shao Planet. Thanks again for joining us. We'll talk soon.